Okay, this is my Ford 2000, I think it's a 1968, 69 tractor. It's in really bad shape. Trying to decide whether I'm going to rebuild it or not. Got a tires problem. It don't have no water in it. The fan's frozen, so the water pump's frozen. I put this used hydraulic filter on there because the old one looked like it had a hole in it. Somebody left the rain cap off the muffler, so I think the engine is frozen. I think it just had rained down in there so many years that it's frozen the top of the engine. I have my doubts that the clutch transmission works, gearbox works, and then the rear axle is leaking water as we speak out the end, which is a seal, but theoretically there should not be water coming out of there. If anything leaking, it should be rear axle fluid. And the brake springs don't work. It doesn't have a good seat. These rear fenders are rotten. So is it a lost cause? The electrical shot. Steering wheel shot. This whole tractor is shot. So my thinking was that I would pull parts off my good tractor, which is a 78 or 79, 10 years newer, like the seat. Pull off the seat, replace it with this, put a new seat on mine. Whatever I wanted new on mine, I'd buy a part for it and put it on there and then put it on this. But if this thing don't hold water, it's got good oil, or at least it's full of oil. I need to drain the oil. It's black on the dipstick and overfilled, which it shouldn't be. But the rear axle, you can't even check the fluid in it because somebody put that on there, which should have been like a return line back into there. So we have to take the seat off, get that plug out, and inspect down in there. So maybe we'll do that today, and we'll pour water in the radiator and see if it will hold water. Does water spew out? Does it leak out? Does it have a crack block? And that's what we'll try to do. Okay, so with the crowbar, seat successfully removed. So let me use two hands, throw that in my scrap pile there. We'll work on getting that plate off. You know that's nasty when you got grass growing out the side of your fender. Kept my bolts. I'm not going to use those, but if I want to go to the store, I need to get some bolts that are similar, so I need to take them with me. Not sure what this business is, but I don't want that. But we got to figure out a way to cap that off or to plug it. This has got to come out, and we got to get this piece out because that's where the plug is. So I don't know what we're going to use to get that off. That looks like that's just going to break in gazillion pieces. And I want this bar, which is 20 inches. It's frozen on both ends. But mine's only 16, and I want that longer one on mine because this scraper blade don't get enough tilt on it. See, I have that all the way out, so then I can use that 20 inch and not have to do that. But I will work. I'm going to leave that on there and try to work that loose with a pipe wrench. See if I can break that free. Couple pipe wrenches. And we'll see if we can get that loose. I don't know what to do about that. Just kind of jerry-rigged, but we'll figure it out. Drip, drip, drip. Look at all that water coming out of that son of a gun now. Can't get that off. It's frozen, so I'll put some diesel in there. Don't let it sit. Maybe that'll unfroze. Actually, I I got this end started and it was there, and I hammered that out, stuck this other end in there, give it something to hold while I try to twist it, but this side's completely frozen, so I'm going to let it sit in that diesel. When I come back, maybe that'll have worked its way through there. I'd really like to do something with that, but I need some, maybe I'll try to grab it with that pipe wrench real fast. Maybe I'll get lucky. This pipe wrench on there, see if I can get that off of there with two hands. Well, good news on that. I'm actually able to tighten it. The whole thing moved. So if I can tighten it, I can loosen it, but these dumb pipe wrenches, they only work one direction. I guess if they would design a reversible pipe wrench where you could sit it on that and go the other way with the teeth reversed, somebody would be a millionaire. But there you go. Well, that's some really bad news, because that is full. And this nasty thing was only like in there one thread. So that's probably where it was leaking in there. And it just fell out. So it wasn't really on there, it was just sitting there, retarded. Anyway, we gotta buy a plug for that, a steering wheel, and a seat. And we gotta get this sucker drained, because it's obviously full of oil, and let that thing sit in diesel for a while. Hopefully it hadn't ruined nothing. Okay, our projects for today is to get this dangerous thing off of there. Nothing but a freaking cut finger waiting to happen. A couple little cotter pins. Going to take that out, drive that out there. I got a new one. I'm going to take the one off of that tractor. And also, real quick, we're going to trim these fenders down and kind of make a homemade fender. I know it's kind of dangerous to leave that on there. Man, that's just a knife edge. But we'll get these crusty fenders off of here. Do that real quick and drain the oil. Okay, that was easy enough to get off. Got two pins. Basically, just pushed it up out of there. It is losing a little bit of water. I filled this up, and it is down about 1 inch, which is very concerning because I don't see any water on the ground. So my concern is the water is getting into the cylinder heads, like it's a cracked block or something. So, not sure. We're going to disassemble this engine. We don't need to take any of this stuff off. We just need to take this stuff off, the head off. We'll probably go ahead and take this fuel off just because it's going to be there. And we're going to take this cylinder head off and the block and see why this engine is locked up. We are going to go ahead and take this off, but it doesn't look like we need to take off the radiator front support. We'll take this off just so we can get to it. Got a couple bolts, and it looks like we'll need to loosen this bonnet. I don't know that we need to remove it all, but it looks like there's 4 bolts up in there. And the other thing that I noticed weird is this has threaded freeze plugs. I've never seen that before, but this is a Belgium tractor. That's the freeze plug, and they're not hammered in. It looks like they're screwed in freeze plugs. So we shouldn't have to mess with any of that. We're just going to remove this head, the head bolts, this intake manifold. I don't even know that we got to loosen that, but I guess we probably could put a new intake. And basically, we could just take off all these bolts and pull this off as a whole unit. Maybe take this off later if we need to. We could unscrew those two, pull that off, undo those 4 bolts there. I think that's the only thing holding the head on. Could undo these and leave this bonnet attached. So we're gonna take that off, but not today. And I only had one grinding wheel and barely got part of one fender cut off. This is attached down here, so I can't remove this part because that's what's holding up the fenders. So I gotta have another plan. So I gotta keep this on here temporary. That's just horrible, 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 horrible. But at least we'll get some of that off of there. All right, recap. We cut the fenders off, got rid of some of that excess weight. Couldn't just remove them because they're attached to the bottom. Somebody put a new muffler on there, but they forgot to put the rain cap. I put this on there, keep the water out. So I think there's water in the block, and that's what I think froze up the engine. We took off the battery tray and we put that back so we know where it's at. And then we'll disconnect the bolts like we talk about next time, and disconnect the intake. And we're going to put a new water pump on it and a thermostat housing. So I guess we will remove some of this stuff. The fan shroud might be easier just to I don't know. I think we can get that radiator out without taking that front cover off. But we're kind of planning, trying to figure out what we're going to do, what we're going to get off. That muffler is frozen on there. Somebody beat that on there with a hammer. It is on there. So I don't know if we're going to have to cut that off and put a new piece. We'll figure that out next time. We'll come prepared to cut this off with a reciprocating saw. And just keep pecking away at it.